Hey humans, welcome to Read to Me, Matt Dunn. I'm Matt Dunn, and I'm going to read to you. Just making sure my mic was on. We are going to finish Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. We are on the last part. This is chapter 24, part 4. His voice seemed suffocated, and my first impulses, which had suggested to me the duty of obeying the dying request of my friend in destroying his enemy, were now suspended by a mixture of curiosity and compassion. I approached this tremendous being. I dared not again raise my looks to his face. There was something so scaring and unearthly in his ugliness. I attempted to speak, but the words died on my lips. The monster continued to utter wild and incoherent self-reproaches. At length, I gathered resolution to address him in a pause of the tempest of his passion. "Your repentance," I said, "is now superfluous, superfluous, superfluous. If you had listened to the voice of conscience, what the fuck? If you had listened to the voice of conscience and heeded the stings of remorse before you had urged your diabolical vengeance to this extremity, Frankenstein would have yet have lived." Isabel, what are you doing? The dogs. Okay. "And do you dream?" said the demon. "Do you think that I was then dead to agony and remorse? He continued, pointing to the corpse, "he suffered not more in the consummation of the dead. Oh, not the 10,000th portion of the anguish that was mine during the lingering detail of its execution. A frightful selfishness hurried me on, while my heart was poisoned with remorse. Think ye that the groans of Clerval were music to my ears? My heart was fashioned to the susceptible of love and sympathy." I hate that word. Like, I want to say symphony. Sympathy. "And when wretched by misery to vice and hatred, it did not endure the violence of the change without torture such as you cannot even imagine. After the murder of Clerval, I returned to Switzerland, a heartbroken and overcome." So now we know what's going on. "So after the murder of Clerval, I returned to Switzerland, heartbroken and overcome. I pitied Frankenstein. My pity amounted to horror. I abhorred myself. But when I discovered that he, the author at once of my existence and of its unspeakable torments, dared to hope for happiness, that while he accumulated wretchedness and despair upon me, he sought his own enjoyment in feelings and passions from the indulgence of which I was forever barred, then omnipotent envy and bitter indignation filled me with an insatiable thirst for vengeance." I goddamn this fucking vocabulary. This guy, he seriously needs to chill the fuck out. Blah, blah. "I recollected my threat and resolved that it should be accomplished. I knew that I was preparing for myself a deadly torture, but I was the slave, not the master, of an impulse which I detested, yet could not disobey. Yet when she died, nay, then I was not miserable. I had cast off all feeling, subdued all anguish to riot in the excess of my despair. Evil thenceforth became my good. Urged thus far, I had no choice but to adapt my nature to an element which I had willingly chosen. The completion of my demonical design became an insatiable passion, and now it is ended. There is my last victim. There is my last victim. Pointing into Frankenstein. I was at first. This is Walton, right? Walton. I was at first touched by the expression of his misery, yet when I called to mind what Frankenstein had said of his powers of eloquence and persuasion, and when I again cast my eyes on the lifeless form of my friend, indignation was rekindled within me. "Wretch," I said, "it is well that you've come here to whine over the desolation that you have made. You throw a torch into a pile of buildings, and when they are consumed, you sit among the ruins and lament the fall. Hypocritical fiend, if he whom you mourn still lived, still would he be the object again? Would he be the prey of your accursed vengeance? It is not pity that you feel. You lament only because the victim of your malignity is withdrawn from your power." Feeling fuzzy on my face. Someone would talk to me like this, I would backhand the fuck out of them. "Oh, it is not thus, interrupted the being. "Yet such must be the impression conveyed to you by what appears to be the purport of my actions." Purport. "Yet I seek not a fellow feeling in my misery. No sympathy may I ever find. When I first sought it, it was the love of virtue, the feelings of happiness and affection with which my whole being overflowed that I wished to be participated." Excuse me. "But now that virtue has become to me a shadow, and that happiness and affection are turned into bitter and loathing despair, and what should I seek for sympathy? What should I fucking seek for some other shit word? I am content to suffer alone. While my sufferings shall endure, when I die, I am well satisfied that abhorrence and opprobrium should load my memory. Once my fantasy was soothed with dreams of virtue, of fame and enjoyment. Once I falsely hoped to meet with beings who, pardoning my outward form, would love me for the excellent qualities which I was capable of bringing forth. I was nourished with high thoughts of honor and devotion. But now vice has degraded me beneath the meanest animal. No crime, no mischief, no malignity, no misery can be found comparable to mine. When I call over the frightful catalogue of my deeds, I cannot believe that I am he whose thoughts were once filled with sublime and transcendent visions of the beauty and the majesty of goodness. But it is even so, the fallen angel becomes a malignant devil. Yet even that enemy of God and man had friends and associates in his desolation. I am quite alone. You, who call Frankenstein your friend, seem to have a knowledge of my crimes and his misfortunes. But in the detail which he gave you of them, he could not sum up the hours and months of misery which I endured, wasting in impotent passions. For while I destroyed his hopes, I did not satisfy my own desires. They were forever ardent and craving. Still I desire love and fellowship, and I was still spurned. Was there no injustice in this? Am I to be thought the only criminal when all humankind sinned against me? Why do you not execrate the rustic who sought to destroy the Savior of his children? Nay, these are virtuous and immaculate beings. I, the miserable and the abandoned, am an abortion, to be spurned at and kicked and trampled on. Even now my blood boils at the recollection of this injustice. Hey, they should be friends. Frankenstein and Hamilton. Or Henry. No. W. Walton. Was it Walton? I don't know. Walton. Let's call him William. Walter. Walter! No, that wasn't it. But it is true that I am a wretch. I have murdered the lovely and the helpless. I have strangled the innocent as they slept, and grasped to death his throat who never injured me or any other living thing. I have devoted my Creator, the select specimen of all that is worthy of love and admiration among men, to misery. I have pursued him even to that irremediable rule. Irremediable rule. There he lies, white and cold in death. You hate me, but your abhorrence cannot equal that with which I regard myself. I look on the hands which executed the deed. I think on the heart in which the imagination of it was conceived. Long for the moment when they will meet my eyes, when it will haunt my thoughts no more. Fear not that I shall be the instrument of future mischief. My work is nearly complete. Neither yours nor any man's death is needed to consummate the series of my being, and to accomplish that which must be done, but it requires my own. Do not think that I shall be slow to perform this sacrifice. I shall quit your vessel on the ice raft which brought me hither, and shall seek the most northern extremity of the globe. I shall collect my funeral pile and consume the ashes, this miserable frame, that its remains may afford no light to any curious and unhollowable wretch who would create such another as I have been. I shall die. I shall no longer feel the agonies that consume me, or be the prey of feelings unsatisfied yet unquenched. He is dead who called me into being, and when I shall be no more, the very remembrance of us both will be speedily vanished. I shall no longer see the sun or stars, or feel the winds play on my cheeks. Light, feeling, and sense will pass away, and in this condition must I find my happiness. Some years ago, when the images which this world affords first opened upon me, when I felt the cheering warmth of summer, and heard the rustling of the leaves and the chirping of the birds, and these were all to me, I should have wept to die. Now it is my only consolation. Polluted by bitter crimes and torn by the bitterest remorse, where can I find the rest but in death? Farewell, I leave you, and in you the last of humankind these eyes will ever behold. Farewell, Frankenstein. If thou wert yet alive, and yet cherished a desire of revenge against me, it would be better sustained in my life than in my destruction. But it was not so. Thou didst seek my extinction that I might not cause greater wretchedness. And if yet, in some mode unknown to me, thou hast not yet ceased to think and feel, thou desirest not my life for my own misery, Blasted as thou wert, my agony was still superior to thine, for the bitter stings of remorse may not cease to rankle my wounds until death shall close them forever. Wow. Be soon, he cried, with sad and solemn enthusiasm, I shall die. And what I now feel be no longer felt. Soon these burning miseries will be extinguished. I shall ascend my funeral pile triumphantly and exult in the agony of the torturing flames. The light of that conflagration will fade away. My ashes will be swept into the sea by the winds. My spirit will sleep in peace, or if it thinks, it will not surely think thus. Farewell. He sprung from the cabin window. As he said this, upon the ice raft which lay close to the vessel, he was soon borne away by the waves and lost in darkness and distance. The end. That was it. That was a bunch of bullshit. What the fuck? Like, nobody gets what they want. Everybody fucking dies. And then it's just like gone. Done. This shit happened. It's just... Ooh, my God. That was a good book, though. I loved it. I thought that was great. I wish I had the time and lifespan to just sit and really reread the book and just capture those moments again. Maybe I do, and maybe I will. Maybe later on I will do it some more, but damn, that was good. Wow. Anyway, if you wish for me to keep reading, please check out some more of my videos. Give me a thumbs up if you like, and subscribe with the button I've placed on the video, or whatever. Comment down below if you wish for me to keep reading. And, hey, I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new book. We'll see what it is. Brand new. Well, in a sense, brand new to me.